Now it's time to start our discussion club about MarTech trends for 2021. My name is Michael Heiner. I'm the deputy chairman of the Committee on Internet Advertising by Ukrainian Internet Association. Also, I am co-founder and CEO of Bannerbu, creative management platform where marketers can build, manage, and accelerate ad campaigns using innovative ad formats. I'm so excited to moderate today's webinar. Today we have a truly stellar lineup of speakers from Great Britain and the Ukraine. I'll introduce them a little bit later, but now I want to tell a couple of words about the MarTech Discussion Club and organizers of today's event. So the club is an initiative of the Committee of Internet Advertising at the Internet Association of Ukraine and become possible with the support of a permanent partner and co-organizer of Xenoss. At our webinar, we raise questions about marketing technologies, about Ukrainian MarTech companies, about investments in Ukrainian startups, and many other topics. We would also like to thank our information partners for supporting the project and contributing to the development of the MarTech community in Ukraine. Developers Community DOUUA, Admixer Academy, SaaS Founders, Startup and Down, and EO Business Incubators. And now about our organizers. The Internet Advertising Committee is an open platform for interaction between market players, advertising agencies, MarTech companies, and online publishers. The purpose of the committee is to ensure the development of internet advertising in Ukraine. Since 2010, we have been uniting leading companies in various market segments and are a working body of the Board of Internet Association of Ukraine. Our partner, Xenoss, provides MarTech software consulting and development services. They build centers of excellence, augment tech teams, or transform clients' ideas into fully operable MarTech solutions. Being on the market for over 15 years, the team helps build dozens of MarTech products and work with top industry players such as Intercom, Telefonica, Seismic, Dentsu, Powerlinks, Kochava, and Video Intelligence. Friends, I ask you to join our Telegram channel and subscribe to our YouTube channel, where you can watch later this and all previous webinars we recorded. Please look at the links in the chat. But enough words. Let's begin our conversation. I'm glad to invite our guest from London to speak, Alex Rahamon, a man with such huge experience that I got tired scrolling through his LinkedIn profile. Alex, it's your turn.
Thank you. Nice to meet you, everyone. I was asked to just do a couple of slides to talk about my background. I'll try and make it briefer than my LinkedIn. Just a couple of minutes on me as we talk about MarTech trends for 2021. Hopefully you can see my screen. So as I said, I'm Alex Rahamon. I'm based in London. Little background on me. I guess a more formal start to career from Oxford, Pricewaterhouse, finance, more traditional. But the last 20 years, I've really been involved in growth companies, which I find much more my passion, and particularly in tech, ad tech, and more recently through venture capital and investing in tech as well. So a few examples for this discussion. I was early in a SaaS MarTech business called Touch Clarity, which was 20 years ago, one of the first companies to optimize content in real time based on user and other factors arriving on a website. I felt like I was speaking Chinese to people, though it was so early. Probably too early, but that was my first exposure to the MarTech landscape. And probably one of the things I'm proudest of is being very early in the programmatic space, programmatic advertising. I was in a founding team of a UK ad business called Unanimous, and we forked the code from an open source ad server called PHP Ads.new, used it as our own ad server, and then me and the CTO realized actually this is a great opportunity because 60,000 websites globally had downloaded this ad server. So we created a business called OpenX, spun that out to Index Ventures, then Excel, and it became one of the first SSPs, so or exchanges. So this was very much in the early days, 2005, talking to publishers all over the world, from Russia to Brazil, about getting on board this new innovation. I was also the founder of a company called StrikeAd, which was the first DSP, demand-side platform focused on mobile ads. I proud to say my development team was founded in Ukraine, and had many visits to Kiev through the life cycle of StrikeAd, and it's where I got to know Dmitry and Vova, who are the senior leadership team at Xenoss as well. Had some success in terms of exits. The thing about growth is, if you're growing, you are appealing to other companies, investors, but the investors want to make a return. So I had some experience with Touch Clarity. We sold it to Omniture, which then sold to Adobe. Is now somewhere hidden in that stack. Unanimous, which is the parent of OpenX before I spun it out, we sold that to France Telecom, and we became a part of the media business of Orange. And StrikeAd we sold to Seismic, which was a big, it still is a big American company, but it split up and half went to Amazon. So I guess it's part of Amazon now. You've probably heard of. Just a couple last things. I think more recently I've done interesting work out in Estonia with Next, which was a SaaS transformation of a rich media creative business, turning it from more like a service business, spinning that business out and being much more a technology platform license. I'm also chairman of an e-commerce MarTech business called Adimo. And finally, last thing, I am a venture capitalist now. So I am a partner at IDA Capital, which is a 150 million euro fund investing in tech and SaaS. I think someone needs to go on mute. Yeah, interesting being on the other side of the table as we talk about startups and growth and tech. Being an investor now, we look at things in a different way. So interested to, happy to share my view on from that side of the table. So yeah, enough on me. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Alex, for the introduction, and thank you for joining us today. Our next guest connected to us from sunny Belize, Vільям Merser. This man, instead of renting an office, built his own on a sunny beach. Will, could you please make a short intro about you?
Brilliant, thank you. Sorry, I'm having a few internet issues, so if I do drop out despite the dress rehearsal, please bear with me. But yes, no, thank you very much for inviting me, and Alex, just a huge respect. I encounter so many ad tech businesses, and one of the things about marketing and ad tech, particularly in terms of venture capital, is it had this renaissance about, like, I don't know, 4 or 5 years ago, where everyone wanted to get into ad tech, and now, there are some incredible ventures out there, and the number of professional investors has definitely declined, and I feel like whilst it's maybe not as trendy as it once was as an investment sector, now is the best time ever for it. So really excited to know more about your investments. So really good on that in that regard. I'll just share a quick bit about Zag. So I am venture partner at Zag, And essentially, Zag was founded by the global creative agency BBH as its startup investment arm. The original thesis behind its founding was that as a marketing agency, we were able to see insights and trends before our customers, and hence we could identify gaps in the market and hence create ventures to meet those demands. So we started off from a consumer brand creation point of view, but eventually realized the more efficient model was to partner with startups, and hence we invest in consumer and marketing and ad tech businesses and effectively connect them to our corporate and client network in order to slingshot them to success. So essentially, we're very much about creating world-class brands in partnership with them, making those connections, and validating go-to-market strategies. I'd say that sort of where we're sort of where we play is very early stage. So we're really looking at the very horizon of marketing and ad tech and consumer. Today, this is actually sort of slightly outdated. We're actually now at 29 ventures and at 160 million in terms of the combined value, and around about 7 million in portfolio value. We'll go on to it, but COVID has done the portfolio value incredibly well. So we're really enjoying a good perspective. And then outside of our startup investment work, we work with a number of blue chip companies worldwide. We branded and remain go-to-market partner for Yamaha Music. We help Volvo create new digital acquisition strategies, including. Hey, sorry, I think someone's on mute. I think I don't know if you're packing or whatever, but.
Yes.
Michael, can you mute someone? Yeah. Can you do it as the moderator, Michael? Oh, it's okay now.
Yeah. I asked already, so it's fine already. It's fine.
Perfect. Thanks. Sorry about that. So sort of like, but I'm really intrigued as you know, this Zoom world where you can kind of pick up on what's happening in the background. So yeah. So for example, in Volvo's case, we created a new tool for them to allow customers to customize their cars online. Now 80% of Volvo sales interact with something we built for them. The same with Facebook. We helped Facebook create the first non-Facebook named product workplace. We helped them come up with a name and go-to-market strategy. We also helped the Guardian Media Group help launch their membership scheme. So I'll stop there, but in short, we're really interested in the fringes of technology and how creativity can integrate with that to create new ways to help great products get to market.
Okay, thank you, William. Thank you. Now it's time to present our Ukrainian speakers. Iván Fedorov, new business director at Admixer. My pleasure, Ivan.
Yeah, thank you, Michael. Could I share my screen?
Sure.
Yeah, a couple of slides and a couple of words about me. Warm welcome for everybody who joined our meeting today. My name is Iván Fedorov. I am new business director at Admixer, and in Admixer, I'm responsible for development of new products, new markets, new strategic relationships and integrations. Yeah, actually, I'm almost 20 years in digital sphere. I started with development some sites and online startups in different spheres, and like marketplaces, online services, e-commerce products. Then I worked almost 5 years in media, transferring print magazines into digital. And for the last 10 years, I have been working in digital advertising, development products in AdTech and MarTech sphere. My main area of specialization now is data products, including identity solution, data management tools, integrations with data exchanges and ad platforms, monetization of data for publishers and data providers, and all the things connected to the data issues. A few words about Admixer. Admixer is more than 10 years on the market. It's quite established company. We have almost 300 people around the world and several offices, and more than 50 people works on MarTech and tech products. We have a lot of connections and integrations with supply and demand partners around the world. So yeah, a lot of brands you know from your practice, and we have a huge geo coverage, several offices and data centers on almost on each continent. Admixer is an tech provider. Our main product is full stack programmatic ad tech stack. We develop these products for all parts of the programmatic ecosystems, for publishers, for brands, for advertising agencies. So we have all the products into our stacks at server, trading desk, DSP, ad exchange, SSP, video player, SDK for mobile applications, DMP, and so on and so forth. So this is like all-in-one product for each our client, which it could transfer or configure in any way that you like. We have a lot of integrations with MarTech services and products, with identity solution, with measurement solution, with anti-fraud solution, creative management platform. So for today, this is a requirement from our clients to have all these services already bundled to their ad stack. So it's a lot of things to discuss today, what is going on in this sphere and what we will see in the 2021. Thank you.
Again, thank you so much, Ivan. At least, but not last, Vítalий Якушин, advertising professional, guitar player, just a great man, but he'll speak about himself. Vítалий, your turn.
Hi there.
Guys, I remind you that we have about 3 minutes for introduction, and we should give short questions because we have limited time.
Okay. So my name is Vítalий Якушин. Yes, right now I'm a chief executive officer of VPointMedia Global. It's an Ukrainian programmatic platform that was established by me and my partner like some 6 years ago. And during all these years, we has managed to move in the market towards the conscious use of data collection, analytics, the quality communication with the clients. Yes, through the data, through the some transparent and quality tools. Yes, and not the digital advertising that we used to have. Yes, that wasn't so transparent, wasn't so effective, and wasn't so maybe ethically and strong as it is now due to the programmatic tools and data-driven marketing. We grew to the level of group of companies right now that mostly dealing with advertising and marketing through data, but not only as a advertising platform, but more like a data platform that helps businesses not only perform some efficient communications through advertising, but also to use data in their overall marketing activities in offline media, in synergy of data from different sources, and even in making their business processes better, more efficient, and like earning more money. Yes, after all. A couple of words about VPointMedia. Right now, we perform in some 16, I guess, countries. We collect that data by themselves. So we do not use any third-party data. That's our, I think, main advantage, and that will keep us going even in GDPR and some other conditions. We got a huge amount of some audience profiling parameters, and through these years we conducted some thousands of successful campaigns from for the companies, from small business through the big international brands. It's like automobile, FMCG, or pharma. That's, I think, mostly all. Maybe a couple of words about myself. 23 years in the advertising market, some 12, I think, in digital, a row of startups that I was participating in during those years, mostly AdTech and MarTech. Yes, and some 6 years of successful management of the startup that we managed to grow into a business. I think that's a rare occasion because a lot of startups just still, they continue to be startups all the time of their lives, through their lifetime. And the last thing that we are known, and I'm proud of it, as one of the companies, and personally me as the company and the person that moves programmatic and MarTech and AdTech here in Ukraine, because we got a lot of educational initiatives. We are the active performers in participants in IAB, in International Association from recent time, and business communities, and we spend a lot of time and effort to educate the market and to make it better.
Okay, that's great. Thank you, Vitaly, and thanks to all speakers for the introduction. Now you can see that we have really great professionals today. And now our first topic to discuss: global MarTech trends. What to expect from 2021? I want each of you to share with us, in your opinion, 2 of the most important trends. Alex, now you will be the first one. Go ahead.
Thank you. Yeah, it seems like we should be talking about coronavirus the whole time, you know, because it's been so all affecting to our lives. But actually, global MarTech, I think, is something that is maybe not so affected. Certainly from what I've been seeing in some of the success of AdTech and MarTech companies through last year. So I guess in terms of a trend, the key one that I think will shake a lot of players up, the most seismic change is going to be around, you know, the key changes around privacy. We have a desire of consumers and regulators to take back their privacy rights, and to allow consumers to really sort of be very much making a decision whether they want to engage in this sort of data sharing. With that in mind, then obviously the big sort of trends around that are Chrome taking away the third-party cookie in this year, and I've heard already big global agencies are sending emails to their clients saying, you know, we want to. In fact, one was last week. We need to prepare now for this, because, you know, we can't sleepwalk into this situation. We need to start planning now. So I think there's going to be a lot of discussion around sort of like how to manage identity and targeting in the ad ecosystem with this new regime, which will lead to a lot of technology opportunities, a lot of pain, but also opportunities, and also potentially the emergence of non-targeting based ad tech, MarTech offerings. Context is a great example. Understanding, you know, the context of a page rather than who the user is. So context tools will become more powerful. And anything that delivers a clearer ROI beyond just knowing you've reached someone. So I think privacy, and those impacts will be huge. There's obviously the same situation with the IDFA.
Sorry. Alex, sorry, just jump in with the context. Is there anyone you know of that's leading that way? Just that's really interesting point, and just wondered if there was any startup or business that's really leading the charge in that way. That would be a great example to look at.
Yeah, I would say Peer 39 is good. We actually spun it out of Seismic, and my old head of sales at Strikeout is running Europe for Peer 39, and I keep asking, he keeps telling me that business is good. Grape Shot was another example which got bought by Oracle, and these John Snyder, who founded Grape Shot, just saw his business go doubling year after year with these headwinds. So I think context, there actually is more opportunity, I would say, around context, because that's only 2 players, and one's been swallowed up. I think the IDFA is going to massively impact app download marketing as well. You'll have seen these huge mobile measurement players, the MMPs, raised like $100 million or something last year, and their business. A lot of these companies' businesses around tracking between the ad and did someone download the ad, and the IDFA is the measure of that. So yes, people have more privacy, but people who are spending ad dollars are going to find it harder to know where the apps, who downloaded their apps from which marketing spend. So there's more privacy protection for the consumer, but more complexity for the advertiser. So I think privacy and complexity are, I would say, two of my main sort of trends.
Okay, thank you, Alex. Now, Ivan, what do you think about the main trends? What do you consider the most important trends?
Yeah, I have almost the same points as Alex mentioned already, but we always look at the trends from our clients' perspective, from brands and advertising agencies' point of view. And those trends are often defined by the main challenges that our clients faced in the moment. Yes, and for 2021, there are maybe 3 fundamental challenges that I highlighted by the most advertisers in our sphere. The first one is third-party cookie deprecation, which is planned for the next year, of 2021, and the launch of IDFA consent for iOS app ecosystem, which is planned for the first half of this year. These are really huge challenges, both for advertisers and for many tech and MarTech companies that works in this sphere, because many traditional approaches in planning and targeting and measurement will definitely undergo some crucial changes with these changes. The second one is multi-channel or even multi-platform attribution and measurement. And during the last maybe 2-3 years, communication with the customers became really omnichannel. It will become even more fragmented this year with the rise of connected TV, digital outdoor, audio podcasting, game streaming, and things like that, and with the rise of the new platforms like TikTok, game streaming platforms, and so on. Yes, these activities, multi-channel, requires new approaches in measurement and often new technologies that ensures accuracy in reaching all the goals of the campaigns and ROI of the campaigns. And here I see the room for growth for new technologies and new startups. And the last one is privacy compliance. After GDPR came into force 2 years ago in the European Union and CCPA launched this year in the United States, There are also many changes in local privacy regulations in different countries, for example, in India, in Brazil, in Australia, and many others. And if you run your business internationally within different countries, different regions, you have to comply with this rule. And it often requires not only legal work, but also customization of your marketing strategy for this market, and in some cases, customization of your marketing stack for this particular market. As an example, in some countries, we have to store user data on the territory of this country. So if we have some cloud setup for our technology, it's not complied with the local regulation, and we have to adapt it. There are also challenges with transparency, with fraud, with brand safety, but these problems are vital for many years already, and there are some constant improvements in this sphere. So I don't think this is the main trends for the next year. So to sum up, digital advertising and marketing ad tech technologies and services has significant challenges this year. And some of these challenges are really the threat for existing products and services. But at the same time, there are a lot of opportunities for new technologies and disruptive startups in MarTech. So I think next year, this year, 2021, will be very interesting and very changing for all who works in this sphere.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Ivan. You named almost all the trends that Alex said about privacy, about third-party cookies, but of course about multi-channel management. And it's interesting, Will, what can you add to this list of the trends?
Yeah, no, I think obviously these are the macro trends. I think there are sort of a couple of side points really. So the prevalence of customer data platforms. I'm seeing increasingly a lot of people going for an aspiration to win in that space. So private pools of customer data that allow for compliant privacy, compliant but accurate targeting, particularly in sort of highly influential spaces, so music, sports, etc., where you've got sort of people with significant followings looking to monetize their following in a compliant manner, whilst also maybe leveraging more cross-sell opportunities amongst their following. So I think that's definitely one thing. Another thing is cybersec. I know that cybersec's in an abundant, has always been quite a front of mind sort of investment category but the synergy between basically cybersecurity plays, specifically open source intelligence and sort of ad marketing and ad tech and publicly available data sets gained legally or illegally. Increasingly, I'm seeing a number of startups that are specifically out there to remove customer data that has been given without consent from the internet. So I think other forms of getting hold of customer data will slowly get targeted and taken away. Although I appreciate it's not possible to get rid of everything. So I think that aside from the drive from within the industry, externally you'll see a lot more pressure to protect privacy coming from cybersecurity startups. And then I think the final area, well, I mean there are many, but the one that is quite curious for me and definitely worth watching is the rise of computer game advertising. So 2.7 billion people playing at least 5 hours a week, and yet it's largely untapped media space, and you're seeing a lot of significant sort of A checks going into computer game advertisers. But I think one of the interesting things about the infrastructure is it's not a form of media that's found its feet yet. So the way that the current industry is approaching advertising is from a very or media placement in games is a very sort of traditional approach to the media. Whereas obviously, whether I'm playing on mobile, depending on what OS I'm using, whether it's a racing game or a first-person shooter or a MOOC, whatever it is will determine the impact of the ad placement and how that works. So I think that there's going to be, as the world shifts to more interactive media, I think looking at the computer game space is going to be a really good way to tell what the shape of marketing and ad tech will become.
Okay, thank you, Will. So as I see, the privacy is the main trend upcoming. And why no one is talking about artificial intelligence, 5G, maybe Vitaly, could you tell us, what do you think about new upcoming trends in 2021?
I think I only will add some points to what was said before, because these are really the main trends, and the artificial intelligence is here for many years, so it's this long-lasting trend, and the 5G or 6 or 12G, I think it will not sufficiently really change anything. Yes, only scale up some things, but not really change the market or some approaches. I think I will add to these two main trends. Just the first, this privacy that we are mostly concerned as the data platform, programmatic platform that possesses own data management platform. Yes, with a lot of data. We were really concerned about it last year, but then I understood that it may be even better for the market. Yes, to move from this third-party data that was collected by somebody somewhere somehow, yes, without consent or with consent, who knows? Yes, when you buy some data in some DSP, and we understood that even a couple of years ago we started talking clients into using not our data, yes, that we possess in our data management platform, but to collect data by themselves, yes. So to make focus on the first party data, and that's what's happening now throughout the world. Yes, that's the thing that we started thinking about long ago, and it's a much more transparent, high quality data, and that really connects brands with customers and not separates, yes, as not clear and not purified, yes, not qualified, not verified data. And another thing that the ready-to-go editorial segments are usually collected on some behavior patterns, yes, or on some advertising campaigns from another clients. Yes, so you use some behavior patterns that may be not applicable to your product, your service. Yes, they were taken in another circumstances, another time, another place, and it all matters on the long run. So we are working with our clients on not gathering the first data for them totally, but collecting it separately for each product, each service, and separately for every advertising activities, because it may differ very much. Yes, and the main I think importance of this data is that it's unique, yes, for every activity, and that's how we should use it, we think, and it works. Yes, a lot of clients that we started doing like this a year or two ago, they are building their relationships with their clients through digital, and not only, and I'm pretty happy with it, because they really got the long-lasting results and not just some campaigns that may work or not. And the second one, and what Ivan said about multi-channel, omni-channel, yes, and I will add about online, offline. I think it's will be the big trend, especially right now, because we launched our first project in real connection of online and offline, yes, like retail, offline retail, online, and online behavior in the internet generally, and it really works. Yes, and it's like works like wow. Yes, sure, it was delayed a little bit by this lockdown thing, yes, because we couldn't test all the thing properly. But now we see that it's really one of the big trends, because you using the programmatic advertising powers, using the geodata, and using the growing MarTech and tech consciousness of retail companies, yes, that managed just trying to do something through beacons, mobile applications, yes, and to connect inside, yes, online behavior, because today the people buying in offline supermarket, but tomorrow they cannot, yes, and they needed to do something with it, yes, to continue the servicing their customers no matter what happens in the world, yes, and that's here we help them as to also to continue their communications in digital, and not only again through digital out of home, through connected TV, through wearables, through anything that may be connected to these. I think we were just talking not only about programmatic platforms, but it's like more BI engines, yes, that collect all the data offline and online, yes, and make all this experience seamless. I think these are the trends that we see inside of our business, yes, in our clients' behavior.
Thank you, Vitaly. That was great, actually. And actually, we answered the question from one of our listeners about IDFI last world, which trends in user identification we see. I think that it's we already answered these questions, but the next one is interesting. Will Android kill GAID like Apple killed IDFA? Alex, what do you think about it? And
say that again.
Will Android kill GAID like Apple killed IDFA?
Well, I mean, I don't have a crystal ball, but you know, Chrome deprecated the third-party cookie a few years after Safari. So all I can say is look at the track record. It's Google and Apple are different businesses. You know, Google, you know, what wants and enjoys the ad ecosystem. It's very dominant in it, obviously, and sees the benefit in that identifier. So they also have many more third-party players connected to it in all the app developers that need to make money. So I wonder if they will be more likely to keep it active to make sure their partner network keeps making money. And maybe there's less of a privacy pressure on them from the consumers on this sort of tracking than there might have been on the browser and the general internet. So maybe, but not. I don't think soon.
So let's see. And the next question for the same user, I think, are the brands ready to use innovative technologies for the target audience analysis? And what innovative technologies for the target audience analysis do you know? What can you advise? Who can answer?
Yeah, I can speak from an agency perspective. I think I still think the bulk of the global ad industry is very far behind the curve on advertising and marketing and ad tech. I think it was 2019 that Publicis made the Epsilon acquisition. I think it was 580 million for effectively, you know, a digital marketing house, right? So I think the traditional structure between the CMO, the agency, and the media agency then placing it still is, I think, orientated around the legacy of TV advertising being, you know, TV and OOH being the primary channels. So I think that in more traditional brands, as in brands that have been around for 40 plus years, you really will see that struggle to adopt innovative approaches. I've been advising a computer game media business that can deploy content into computer games, and we're speaking to a mobile 5G carrier, a very big one in the UK, through their creative agency. And effectively, we're saying, you need to launch 5G. No one really understands, consumer doesn't really understand what difference is between 5G and 4G, so you need a way to activate it. Yeah, mobile gaming is booming, and 60% of your customers are playing some form of mobile game that needs connectivity for at least an hour a day. Wouldn't it make sense if you created a campaign that could deploy content into mobile games, something like place better on, and then insert the network name? And from whilst there is enthusiasm, there's just no connection there between the customer and the reality. So I'm generally quite scathing of traditional brands, and I think the way that it will change is through insurgent brands, effectively grabbing, using these new technologies to get to their customers, particularly in the digital age, and those being acquired by the larger group. So I think that's how it will happen, not through a proactive approach on large-scale multinational corporates to embrace technology. And I think that's that'll be the same with Publicis, WPP. You will see them, Omnicom. You will see them embrace these technologies through acquisition, not through adoption.
Okay, thank you. Will. It was a great answer. And it's been said that data is the new oil. A better analogy is that data is the new oil painting, because with the oil painting, you can transform matter into a masterpiece. So there is a clear shifting from the big data to big ops. Here are the questions. How is data governed and managed in your organization? What would you advise to business how to handle data? And I know that Ivan told something about data, how they store it, how they manage it. Ivan, what can you say about it?
Yeah, and it really depends on the business. It really depends on all the points that this business has touching points with their clients. Yes, if it's only digital, it's more easy. If it's online, if it's a lot of different channels, and you should to connect all the dots between all those channels and gather all the data from all those points, it's really difficult. If the business acting on a local market with quite clear regulation, it's easy. But if it run their activities along different countries in EU and the United States, it's some privacy regulations adds to this complexity of this task. So there is no one advice for all how to govern all this data, how to manage it. It really depends on the business where it runs and which channels it uses for sales, for communications, for messaging with their clients. So it really depends. We usually take some time with the clients to evaluate all those things, and only then advise some solution to implement for this particular client.
Okay, thank you. But do you agree that it's not the question of acquiring this big data, but the question how to operate with it?
Actually, this multi-layer question, it's not about one thing or other, or just one in one area. You really should make decisions in a legal sphere, in storage sphere, and integration sphere, and collecting sphere. So many things that you have to decide in order to work with the data properly and complying with all the regulation things.
Okay, thank you. And another great question. We see the significant growth or explosion of MarTech products and applications. And comparing to 2014 with 1,000 apps, now we have more than a whopping 8,000 products. There are so many large marketing technology vendors like Google, Adobe, HubSpot, Oracle, Salesforce. Why we are seeing a huge number of new MarTech products? How is it possible? And does it mean that employees should develop special skills to analyze and manage these applications? Who can, maybe Alex, what do you think about? What do you think about it?
I mean, with an investor hat on, we love these companies. We love SaaS tech companies that disrupt existing tech and make things easier, be it, you know, sending messages, managing messages, holding data, you know, understanding data. You know, the amount of innovation here is huge, and hence you have, you know, a ton of different companies arising. The benefit these companies have is, you know, unlike the traditional approach of, you know, a heavy sale, you know, a big, maybe an IBM or an Accenture or a service provider coming in and pitching like a very complicated integrated tech stack that's going to cost, you know, an SAP integration is going to cost a lot of money. You know, there are now solutions out there that sort of sit on top of everything that someone in a particular function in the marcoms team or the marketing or the comms or the media team might say, this solution is great. I found it. I can sign up really easily. It's web-based. It's cloud-based. You know, we can pay hardly anything, and then as we scale, we can pay more. These companies are easy to buy, easy to pay for, easy to use, and they add value. What will be interesting is, you know, as they grow to a certain size, they're very appealing to venture capitalists, because they're just thinking, wow, the more we give these guys money, and they're just going to hire more salespeople, and they've proven, you know, they just can get more customers. Churn is low. They've worked out their cost per acquisition. They're getting into the marketing teams across the globe. They can sell anywhere. It's cloud-based. The question will be, you know, at some point, will there be some sort of crackdown or consolidation where people just say, look, you know, this is crazy. I've got 10 offices around the world, and in every office, somebody's using like 10 different systems. How do we bring this all together? But then, of course, that's an opportunity for another company to come in and provide an API across all the platforms. So,
yeah, actually, integrations and APIs are also the big trend, the big upcoming trend to integrate all this software. Exactly. Great, Alex. Thank you. So I have many questions, but we need to move to another section of our webinar. And I want you to tell about the global pandemic as a factor in the MarTech industry evolution. So in other words, how did the MarTech industry change because of COVID-19? And did you see any changes in workflow? Vitaly, what do you think about it?
It surely changed. I think we may talk about it, how it changed maybe in a year or so. Yes, because it's just only starting. Yes, got some inertia. But what we clearly see right now that maybe it's even connected with the previous question. Yes, why so many of them? We see the growing demand from the businesses. Yes, toward the some new tools. Yes, especially MarTech or EdTech. Even the businesses that were mostly like selling through the phone. Yes, some salespeople, yes, with a notebook and mobile phone, and they were pretty happy with it. But now it doesn't work, and so they started listening to toward the some programmatic or data-driven agencies or MarTech or tech companies saying to them, yes, and they grew up to the level that they can ask some right questions to the MarTechs, yes, so yes, because they operate like in their financial or business terms, and MarTech and tech mostly about some data figures, some analytics that wasn't really connected through the last years for many companies, because yes, they didn't understand each other at all. Yes, they think less more data, you're feeling better. They say I don't want to feel better. I want more money. Yes, I want business processes, more efficiency in my production, yes, or sales or whatever. Yes, and I think it will influence in the way that there will be much more of the tech and MarTech projects, because they got some demand, and their level will be higher. Yes, because it's a clear demand, and that that caused by really some emergency situation, and that businesses need the quick and clear and understandable solution of their real problems, and not some projects that may work in the future, blah blah blah. So to sum it up, it will be more clear, yes, more faster, and more surely more effective in the short run, yes, not in the long-lasting trends of the future decades. Yes, it will work right now, or it will. Nobody will remember about it in a couple of months.
Yeah, so everyone should be proactive these times.
Yeah.
Will, did you see any changes in your workflow because of pandemic?
Yeah, I mean, I'm a big believer that it's just sped up the inevitable. You know, for us, we've seen a huge uplift. So I'd love to say it was with some wizard-like foresight, but I invested pretty much the last of our fund just before COVID hit, and we invested in sort of e-commerce, service providers, sort of marketing optimization tools, direct consumer brands. So it was really sort of as soon as the pandemic hit, it just everything blew up. I mean, one of our portfolio doubled their revenue in the second quarter of 2020. So it's been brilliant. I think so it sped up the inevitable, but I think one thing that is true is that brands and businesses that are trying to create new digital touch points with their customers has been a big thing. You know, it's how can I become present or build some sort of other way to connect or cut through the noise of, you know, just media spend to connect with my customers. So I think, you know, obviously influencer marketing and referral marketing and, you know, affiliates, long established trend, but the currency commanded by brand association with another established platform has continued. And so a lot of media platforms, whether it's you know, online radio stations, for example, or sports teams starting to license their brands to that really make no sense. You're seeing that an existing relationship with the community, with your customers, you know, so an established brand is, you're starting to see them leverage their brand relationships more so than ever, because they can command huge premiums right now for endorsements, etc. So particularly, I mean, mainly in the US, to a lesser extent in Europe. But so yeah, I think, you know, sped up the inevitable. It's going to happen anyway. But, you know, you're starting to see new sort of ways to sort of connect. And I think sort of the biggest one, although it's not really marketing and ad tech, was Hopin. Was a video conferencing software that got an insane valuation, absolutely insane. It's something like, and Alex, I'm sure you probably know the exact figure, but it was something like 1.8 billion for effectively a Zoom equivalent for conferencing, so that you could continue these digital sort of in-person touch points in a digital context. So, you know, it's something where people are really crying out to somehow have that other way of interacting with people in the digital space. And I think as the vaccine comes into play, you'll probably see a crash in this regard. but I think there are certain behaviours, particularly around remote working, distributed teams, that are irreversible, and they are here to stay.
Okay, thank you, Will. There's no doubt that we should focus on customer experience more than ever. Alex, what is your experience regarding global pandemic? Did you see any changes also?
Yeah, I'm stuck at home. That's been a big change. Yeah, I think you know, I know some of the bigger programmatic companies, the sort of founders, and talking to them, you know, they hit their targets last year, and didn't lay anyone off. You know, companies like Fiverr, Captify, MIQ, you know, these are programmatic companies with, you know, offices all over the place, but they're still growing. I guess part of the reason that happened is, you know, they're programmatic. They are sort of efficient, and that's what, you know, programmatic is. It's an efficient way of trading media. The, you know, old way of trading media involved, you know, and it's still huge and very valuable, a lot of high touch, a lot of pitches, a lot of meetings, talking, conceptualizing sponsorship packages, things like that. Couldn't do. You know, you can't go meet the agency and pitch and talk. And so I wonder whether ad spend had to be spent, you know, in the absence of being pitched, it shifted to programmatic. And you look at the trade desks market cap, and, you know, these are like, you know, other IPOs in the space, you know, they're starting to be considered like, you know, real, you know, recurring tech stable businesses, not the sort of flaky media type businesses that were, you know, flavor of the month one year and then another one was, and that was, I guess, the fear for all investors and on exits. So it seems like, you know, they've really sort of become established. And I guess one other thing would be, you know, everyone's at home, they're all on different devices trying to watch TV or do, you know, calls. And, you know, you're thinking about your broadband, you're looking at maybe 5G is faster than your broadband, you know, maybe you're going to cut your cord because of the costs. Maybe you're going to start streaming Disney and Netflix, and all of this has led to, you know, even heightened look at connected TV, programmatic ads within that ecosystem. I think that's growing like crazy, and it's the, you know, I would say the pandemic's accelerated that.
Yeah, thank you, Alex. Ivan, what can you say? What did you see?
Really, pandemic stimulated the digitalization of many businesses. So MarTech companies for sure benefits from it. And we already observe how marketing budgets are shifting from traditional media to digital. Yeah, but if we talk about the factors of this shift, we can distinguish them several areas, or maybe several things. First, this is changing in users' behavior and media consumption. When most people are sitting in their homes on the quarantine, they're watching more video, communicating through digital platforms, spending more time on online gaming and entertainment. And we observe huge uptick in development of online platforms and all the services around these platforms. The second thing, for sure, this growth of e-commerce. Even those businesses who didn't think about online sales before have started development in this direction. So interest for MarTech solution in this area increased significantly. And the last thing, many companies started to build their MarTech stack or started to rebuilding their MarTech stack to comply with the changing environment. So from all those positions, MarTech is in black in this situation. And I think it will develop for the next several years.
Okay, thank you, Ivan, so much. So if we talk about stability or risky trends, for example, so we need to be proactive, we need to move further, we need to leverage technologies, and how marketers should keep up with changes in digital platforms. Maybe Vitaly, let's start with you.
I think here it was like in digital, it was always like be quick or be dead. Yes, and now I think it's even more right than ever. I think they should risk, they should experiment, yes, and should do it quickly. Yes. That's the way the businesses could or should survive right now. Yes, and it's very, I think, dangerous to trying to hold for some old experience, yes, for old assets, yes, and trying to keep what's left. No, I think it's not the way, and that's how our business behaves. Yes, we are expanding, we're risking, and maybe we are not right, but we'll see. Yes, and our clients are mostly doing the same with us. A lot of experiments, a lot of new products that we were trying to sell for years. They're sold every day right now because the clients say, let's go, this one, let's try it. Yes, and we say, we couldn't convince you just for a couple of years to try it. That's okay, let's do it. Let's do it because we need to do something. We need to try something new because
Yes, it's true.
Yes, so I think everybody should take some risk right now and try something new, something unusual.
Okay, thank you.
Something wow.
Will pivot or not pivot, attack or be defensive? What do you think?
I'm a startup guy, so oh, sorry, I think my internet's a bit. But yeah, I'm a startup guy. So for me, I never favor the incumbent. You know, I'm very much look at ways to break the system, look at things that other people are not doing, look at other ways to get to your customers. You know, I mean, not so much for COVID time, but you know, some of the startups I was saying, you know, just get on the street with posters and flyers because no one's using, you know, guerrilla media anymore. So yeah, for me in this day and age, if you're in an incumbent industry and you're doing something in a certain way, very difficult to look at it from a new perspective. And the only way you can really get that is by speaking to people who are approaching the same problem in a new way. And so that's why I love being in the venture space.
Okay, thank you. Alex, what do you think? How to avoid backsteps doing business in a new normal world?
I would say, you know, we've had this demand and supply sort of existence in media for, you know, and advertising and that world for so long. You know, demand buys from supply. Google and Facebook, as we know, are totally shaking that up. You know, they're across. You know, they're offering things, products for the demand side and for the supply side, to the advertiser and to the publisher. I think if you look at identity and the difficulty in finding people, you know, these guys have first-party data. So, you know, the fear is that people are going to go and spend more with the bigger guys who are already dominant, because it's easy. They're easy to buy from. They're you know, that's often an important, very important point in our world, is how easy you know, the buying process is. But yeah, I would say marketers should look at other, I wouldn't exactly call them startups, but other companies, because you're starting to see Terry Kawaja, wwho does the Lumascape, he's famous for that, he's a banker. He's talking about this thing horizontality, which is, don't think it's a word, but it's if you have demand here and supply here, this sort of like going across the top and covering everything. And other companies are starting to do that as well. Roku, which was on the supply side with TV, it buys a demand side platform, DataZoo. Now they can service across, this horizontal from advertiser to supplier. Freewheel, which is again sort of like on the supply side, acquires beeswax, which again is providing tools to the advertiser. And so, yeah, I would say, just look a bit further than the big guys in this new market, because they might have new solutions or made acquisitions that make them more interesting.
Okay, great, thank you, Alex. So we decided that we need to be agile and proactive to survive. And now let's be specific, how to strengthen marketing strategies through new technologies. And maybe could you advise or recommend the ways marketers can transform their current abilities with digital space? Ivan, what do you think?
Yeah, okay. I'm just add some points to the previous questions.
Right.
So what can marketers do in current situations? My take here, first of all, forget about stability forever, because the new normal is constant changes. I remember the times when some disruptive technologies in MarTech occurred once in several years, like invention of flash technology or adoption of cloud services or invention of programmatic buying, for example. But then the pace of changes has increased dramatically, and today the changes goes constantly, and they goes from different sources, from technology side, from regulation side, from platform rules and the restriction, and so on. So for marketers, what to do in this situation? First of all, develop your analytics. You should see in real time what is going on with your sales, with your customers, with your brand, with competitors, with all the overall environment. The second thing is automate your marketing flow. If you have a lot of manual work and adjustments in your practice, just change it. Because if you still, you will become uncompetitive very, very quickly. So more integration, more automation. And the last thing, as Vitaly mentioned, just experiment. Most of traditional approaches will perish or have already perished in new environment. So try new ways, try new channels, new platforms, anything to acquire new customers and build these things. What we advise our clients for this year, what about marketing strategy? When we talk about strategy for this year, we highlight several directions to focus on. First of all, working with first-party data and develop data-driven approach, because your own data, it's your oil and your gold for the next several years. Second, binding all communication channels together and make the single point of orchestration of all your activities. You should have the right messaging for the right moment with the right customers. It's understandable. And also automation of workflow in advertising campaigns. It could be implemented in many spheres. Automation of creatives, automation of buying and bidding, and maybe in selling. Then optimization of overall results, and all those things will be very helpful. And yeah, all those things require adoption of new technologies. So look at the solutions that there are on the market for these areas, some CRM or CDPs, some services for data collection, for data transfer, data storage, for their first-party data, integrations with different services and platforms for omnichannel communications, and for automation, all the analytical tools, all your maybe ML modeling things, all your buying strategies should be banded together in one point. So this is my advice is how to straighten this marketing strategy for this year.
Yeah, it was really great advice. Thank you. Thank you, Ivan. Vitaly, what could you add to Ivan's words?
I think I will add some basic thing that we come across a lot of times with the clients through the years, that all these data collection processes, all these technologies, all these EdTech or MarTech projects that clients use are nothing without a consciousness. And we're trying to explain every time that before you do something, you should know how you will use it for making your business better. Yes, because if you collect data just to have a lot of data, yes, that leads only to the point that the clients say, yeah, we're collecting data, but nothing changes. Yes, and every time, for example, when the company is collecting data to check, like to find the checkpoints, yes, where the customer contacts with them or with their site or with their products, yes, some patterns and how they choose the products of this type. Yes, they always should know what they will do. Yes, finding some things, yes, about the consumer behavior or attitude or engagement or whatever. Yes, if they ain't got any things like this before they start analyzing this, it leads to nothing, because it should be measured. They should know what they want to measure and how they will use it for making their communications on their marketing or their business processes or their products or services better. As otherwise it leads us to nowhere again, yes, as it happened many times before, yes, to making something for just because everybody makes it. That's not the way with the MarTech and with the data, with programmatic. So conscious data collection and usage and analytics, surely, yes, every time, yes, and to analyze and to put it to your business again and again, and then back to the data, and then back to your business. It will work only this way.
Okay, thank you, Vitaly. Friends, we have 10 to 15 minutes left, but we have a lot of questions from audience. So I ask you to answer the last our big part of discussion about, so imagine ourselves as futurists. What technological changes will create the most opportunities for MarTech startups in 2021? For example, maybe it's 5G technology, maybe big data, blockchain technology, I don't know, voice search. What do you think, Alex?
I would say artificial intelligence is a really interesting opportunity for everyone. It's obviously not anything by itself. It needs to be applied to something, which means it's an opportunity for existing companies, new companies, brands, MarTech, AdTech. I mean, there's lots of, it's a very broad arena, but you know, as an example of ways you can use it, there's like conversational marketing now, either through chats with customers, or even in an ad. There's a company called Kavai, which has an ad unit where you can talk about, you know, a particular car, and you know, it's working out what you want. And you know, this is smart because in an absence of cookies, you're declaring your interest in that car and starting to hand over data. So, you know, we don't really want millions of people typing answers for, you know, that's not going to be cheap. So if you can find a way to use AI to start communicating with your prospects and your customers in a smart way, I think that's really interesting. Obviously, data's everywhere. It's going to be all over the place. If you can use smart machine learning to model your audience data and start to really look at like if, what, by, if this happens, what happens? If I do this, what happens? And really start to, model that, then that's a really interesting area. And the last thing would be campaign optimization. It's a sort of dirty secret in programmatic that, most AI is a guy somewhere, turning something slightly, button slightly to the right. It doesn't need to be the way. There really should be people not ignoring the automatic option and driving manual, but more people using the automatic option, and letting the AI to actually understand what you want and feed it more, and it learns more. The great examples that driverless cars. It's the millions of miles that Tesla has of data on driving, driverless cars makes them miles ahead of others entering the market. And that's the same in any MarTech ad tech conversation. The sooner you start, the more decisions you can make, the more you can learn, your algorithm learns, the further you'll get ahead. So I'd say that's there's limitless opportunities there.
Okay, thank you, Alex. Regarding AI tools, personally, I bought 2 services last month for AI-driven content creation. So it's really, really big trend. William, what do you think about opportunities for MarTech startups?
Yeah, interesting. Just on the AI piece, I can't remember the name of the specific, FTP3 or something, the AI engine that wrote that could just create content and rip it off the internet, and I'd love to see what that goes into, the impact of that on a
exactly.
content marketing strategy and how it can optimize. We've invested in doing something similar for imagery and image cropping. So really interested to see how sort of AI switching. I suppose AI again. I agree with Alex. I don't think we've even scratched the surface of what AI is in MarTech. I suppose for me, sort of, I mentioned the two big things that I'm interested in. So media in computer games and interactive content, and sort of data trust and customer data platforms. But one of the things that I'd love to sort of, if I can, just get the opinion of some of the panelists. One of the things that happened in 2019 was the FBI's investigation into media fraud. So large-scale media fraud by the big media agencies, starting with Publicis, but across the board. But constantly, I'm seeing a similar thing with obviously digital ad fraud. So one of the things that I'm really interested in is what kind of, I think there's still a big space in the market for an end-to-end ad fraud prevention solution, etc. And the fact that got representation from SSPs, DSPs, etc. on the call. I'd just love to know whether they see any opportunities in ad fraud prevention, and whether that's a great space.
Okay, thank you, Will. Guys, we need to move faster. Vitaly, just a couple of words. What do you think about it?
I will join Alex that AI is the thing that may dramatically change as it changing through the previous years, but I think it will be just faster and due to more powers in the computing powers, the connection speed and etc. So and will enhance not only the advertising experience, but I think the business processes, marketing, everything. I think it will be integrated into the business itself. Not only in optimizing the advertising campaigns like it was before, mostly something like this.
Yeah, sure, I agree. Ivan.
I think digitalization of traditional advertising channel is a very interesting sphere. Outdoor linear TV, radio broadcasting, all those spheres are digitalizing in the moment, and there is a lot of opportunities, a lot of work here in terms of measurement, in terms of fraud, in terms of targeting. So I think there are a lot of opportunities for MarTech startups in this sphere, and this direction will be booming next year.
Okay, thank you. And now just a quick questions from the audience, because we need to answer them, but very, very, very short. How will remote work change the industry? Who will answer this question? How will remote work change the industry?
Okay, Bernard, please.
Yes, Will.
I mean, I feel like I have to say something because I'm currently working from Belize on a beach. I don't think it will. I think sort of you know, essentially we built the tool. You know, I suppose you know, in terms of geographical targeting, you'll have a broader reach. You'll find richer markets, more distributed. But you know, this is a digital first industry. So my personal thing is, you know, your talent pool, you know, wouldn't necessarily be there, but this is something that affects organizational design, not necessarily the proposition being delivered. So I would like to say that not much, apart from that your employees might be a lot happier.
Okay, thank you. And the next question is, what tendencies in MarTech for B2B SaaS products will bring 2021? Tendencies for B2B products. Alex, maybe you.
What tendencies? I'm not 100% sure what tendencies mean, but I guess in terms of B2B products, I think we're going to see a breaking down of barriers for B2B products, as I was talking about earlier. Like, it's going to be easier to buy B2B products. You don't necessarily have to go through procurement. Even procurement now has software that's making life easier for them. So I think obstacles to getting embedded into big organizations for B2B are going to reduce. So you're going to have better chance of you know, a company being comfortable with your new type of software. So, you know, I guess obviously SaaS, cloud-based, all those traditional things will grow.
Okay, thank you. And maybe, Alex, the next question is also to you and William. What categories are hot or not in MarTech today from an investor's point of view? For example, influencers tech, account-based marketing, local marketing, etc.
I suppose I'd just jump in before, because I think Alex had a lot more to say on this, but I would say that marketing and ad tech is still not a hot industry. I mean, it is hot in terms of established players, but you know, none of my sort of sector agnostic friends are jumping back on the marketing and ad tech banner. You know, like 5-6 years ago, it was everybody wanted to just pile into ad tech. You know, even 10 years ago, but now it's still not as hot or sexy, which means it's, you know, if everyone's looking one way, you want to be investing that way. So I think there's just so much opportunity. So yeah, Alex, I'd love to hear your opinion.
Yeah, no, I'd agree. You know, there are very few industries where there is as dominant two companies as Google and Facebook in your industry, and add Amazon to that, they're going to do like, you know, 20 billion or something, you know, in the last 12 months in just ad revenue. So if you're an investor looking at ad tech and MarTech, and those three international giants are in every single market, you know, it worries. It would worry startups. Of course, you can let, you know, you can be local, innovative, relationship, service, but if you're struggling to meet as well because of the virus, you know, it makes it challenging. So I would say, you know, to what Ivan was saying earlier, the digitization of all the old media would be the most interesting things right now. Connected TV, programmatic, digital out of home, programmatic audio, podcasts, you know, things like that. You know, that's all going to be really interesting, and everyone's talking about that.
And what about Internet of Things advertising?
Jackets and fridges. certainly voice commerce is interesting. Again, there's even less players in that market. It's just Amazon, to some extent. But so again, really going to be really interesting in the future, but not in the next couple of years.
Okay, thank you. And the next question is very niche, and I think that Ivan and Vitaly will answer. Header bidding in mobile. Will waterfall survive? Which header bidding platform is to choose? Ivan or Vitaly, who will be the first?
Yeah, it's a really niche questions.
Yeah.
You can send me in private message and I will answer that. Yeah, actually, mobile header bidding is on the way, and I think there's no chances for waterfall in any schemes, not only in mobile. So it's right time to find the right solution for your monetization. So if you need one, just PM me.
Okay, thank you. Vitaly, will you add something? Or?
We are not using it right now, so
okay.
I cannot add something. So
Ivan was the right person to answer this question.
Yes. Maybe in the future we'll try and have some opinion on it.
Okay. And the next question, when TikTok will be useful for B2B marketing? I think that already, no? Vitaly.
I will try. Yes, I think that anything can be used for B2B. Yes, from the scratch. It depends just on the concept, of finding the right concept and what and whom, why, how, and why. I think it's TikTok, Tinder, or whatever. It may work, yes, but you should imagine, yes, invent, try. Why not?
Okay. So guys, thank you. I think that's all for today. I thank you for the great answers, for the great advice to our listeners. And we plan to organize the next webinars with more niche topics to discuss, and maybe I think that we will invite you to continue our discussion. So for the moment, thank you. Will,
sorry.
You wanted to say something?
Sorry, I'm a mentor on the EO Incubator Program. I'm a big fan of the EO Incubator Program. It's an early stage startup program for Ukrainian startups. One, obviously, if you're thinking of starting something, please apply. But two, one of the things that's really evident is that Ukrainians build amazing products, but when it comes to taking them to market, they're not as effective as, say, US-based startups. So I just wanted to say, as we have an audience of marketers here, if you're interested in engaging with the startup community in Ukraine and want to help Ukrainian entrepreneurs take their products globally, please do reach out, get in touch. We're always looking for mentors, collaborators, partners, you name it. So would be much appreciated.
Thank you, Will. So guys, you are brilliant. Thank you so much. See you.